Hey, Retcon Raider here, and welcome back to episode 2 of the Battle Brothers Let's Play series. Last time, we managed to work our way through the tutorial missions, despite having a team mostly populated with gluttons, pessimists, and the odd asthmatic. So this time, we're going to look at taking on some real contracts. But we do have a bit of bookkeeping to do first. Ulford is still suffering that broken nose, so I'm going to get him treated at the temple. This won't immediately remove the injury, but it will make it so that he heals faster, and so that it won't have any chance of triggering the infected wound event, which is about as bad as it sounds. Now, I'd also like to bring in a more reliable mercenary. I like the idea of having a bowyer on my team because they can trigger special events that lead to the creation of better bows. But my current bowyer has asthma, and he's probably not going to last on the team very long. So I'm going to go ahead and pick up Ludolf here, who honestly looks pretty underwhelming, but at least he doesn't have asthma, so I guess there's that. For now, Ludolf will be moved into my second row of archers. I'm tempted to just fire Torhelm the Patient now, but I really shouldn't waste a mercenary this early in the game. I will, however, shuffle him over to the very edge of my battle line, so he's the most likely to be killed by stray fire, or I suppose he could always buy the rest of my archers a precious few seconds if enemies circle around my front battle line. I'm tempted to pick up another mercenary as well to round out my front battle lines, but none of these guys are really jumping out at me. This looks like a pretty straightforward artifact recovery mission. Now, I could negotiate over pay, but generally speaking, while that will get you a little bit of extra coin, it comes at the cost of reputation. Your employers don't like it when you haggle over the prices. Is there anything else I want to do before I leave? I guess I could buy another round of drinks to bolster our morale. Take a peek at the rumor before I leave. And let's see, where am I going? Alright, so I need to head to the Tomb of Many Crows. It's on the far side of this little mountain range, but I can just... Uh-oh. Alright, that looks like a pretty nasty group of brigands. Unfortunately, I don't think my group of gluttons and pessimists are ready to take on a 9-man squad. So I think I'll just ease my way back towards Elkshorn. Fortunately, there's a small group of peasants here that I can use as cannon fodder. Oh, looks like a special event. Okay. Now, this is a special event where I can choose my current goal for my mercenary group. I can either focus on getting a 12-man roster, or I can focus on building up my relationship with a specific town. If I accomplish that goal, it will raise my group's reputation, as well as the morale of all of my mercenaries. Those poor peasants. Alright, this is my chance. I can just sneak on by while those brigands are busy introducing themselves to the peasants. And, whoops, they noticed me. Alright, I'll just carefully plot out my course here and see if I can outdistance them on the road. Alright. Yeah, as you can see right here, a stronghold has spawned. Now, obviously, I already dabbled in strongholds a bit earlier when I did the tutorial quest where I had to track down Hoggart the Weasel, but this is a real stronghold. I have no idea of knowing what's in there, aside from probably brigands, but it could be a lot of brigands. It could be a lot more than I can handle, especially at this early stage in the game. This, however, is a bit more predictable. Since I know it's an artifact recovery mission, of course I knew it was going to involve skeletons. I'm not really ready to fight skeletons yet. But, since this is an artifact recovery mission, there's a little trick that you can kind of take advantage of this early in the game. And that is immediately exercising the better part of Valor and withdrawing from the battlefield. I don't know if you saw it when I skimmed through the introductory text there before entering this battle, but it specifically states that when you arrive, it's not until after you pick up the artifact that the skeletons rise and attack you. That means my men already have the artifact we're here for. I could fight these guys, and honestly, with only 4 weak skeletons, I might even win. But I'm not kitted out to fight these guys right now. It would basically turn into a war of attrition between my 3 frontliners with low-damage spears, and their 4 tireless skeletal warriors with weapons that inflict crippling slashing injuries and bleeding damage. My archers would be all but useless because skeletons take minimal damage from bows or crossbows. So, in this particular case, instead, I'm just going to steadily withdraw towards that long line of flags you can see there. That indicates the safe retreat zone. Though, I suppose I should mention real quick, if this were a true emergency situation, if I were in fact entrenched in battle, if they'd already engaged me and I couldn't safely retreat to the exit, I could simply go into the option screen here and click on that retreat option. The downside would be that since I'm not in the safe retreat zone here, anyone who's stuck outside the zone, they'd still automatically retreat and survive the battle, but they would suffer crippling injuries that could take days or even weeks to recover from. It's basically your last-ditch nuclear option if you absolutely have to get out of a losing battle, and you're willing to accept the consequences. It is an option you'll probably end up seeing me take advantage of at some point in the future. But for now, given how slowly these skeletons move, I can afford to take a few turns to leisurely stroll to the safe retreat zone, which I should reach in just another turn here. Suppose I could always take some pot shots at the skeletons, but it really wouldn't make a difference. I would do such little damage that there's no way I'd be able to kill them with even concentrated ranged fire. And there we go. Now I can move the last couple of mercenaries to the retreat zone. Alright, and now I can safely flee the battle with my artifact in hand. Yes, I am sure I would like to retreat, thank you. Now, of course, because I retreated, you'll notice I gained 0 experience points, I didn't gain any loot. That's a shame. My men will also take a small hit to their morale because I retreated from battle. But more importantly, you'll notice that my objective has updated. It's now telling me to return to Elkshorn, where I can, in fact, collect my 400 crowns for successfully completing the job, which I can use to possibly hire another mercenary or... Ruins of Orkbane Keep, huh? This is an awfully dangerous part of the world map. Where I can collect my 400 crowns, possibly hire another mercenary, get some better supplies, and then I can start looking at more dangerous jobs, ones that I might actually have a chance of handling without unnecessary casualties. Now you'll also notice, because I successfully completed this job and returned the artifact, Elkshorn is noted as now having high spirits. That is a temporary buff that the town will enjoy, which has various minor beneficial effects if I do business in this town. Some of those effects will reduce the costs of mercenary recruitments or give me access to a wider array of mercenaries. Sometimes it'll reduce the cost of goods or add to the number of goods available in town. Small things like that. So it can be to your benefit to focus on doing a lot of quests in a very specific area. Is there anything I want to do here? Yeah, I think that was an event that reduces prices. You can see that several goods are close to or even below their normal base cost, so this is a good chance to grab some extra food. Maybe another spear. It is nice to have an axe on your front line for smashing shields, since that's their primary purpose. But right now, I think I'd rather just have a concentrated spear line. It gives me a little more flexibility, especially with only 3 people on my front line. I can also grab a bit of extra coin by dumping some of these items I'm not going to be using. It's a good idea to have backup shields. Those will be destroyed in some battles. And I'm still undecided on the pickaxe, so I'm going to hold on to that for now. And you'll see, of course, that this area is a little too hot for me to hang around now. You've got what looks to be 2 bandit camps and the undead tomb that I didn't clear out. So I think it's time to relocate. I've already been to Holslog, so I'm going to head over towards Eichenberg. And hopefully there will be another job there that I can take care of. This time, with enemies I'll actually stick around to fight. Since I've never visited this location, I'm not really sure what kind of stores and the like will be in there. You can sometimes guess based on the features around the town. In this case, I saw a mine, so there's probably going to be a weaponsmith or... Yeah, there's a weaponsmith. And you can also see what sort of quests are likely to be available. In this case, Eichenberg has recently been raided and has terrified villagers. Well, it certainly sounds like they could use some mercenaries, so let's see what contracts they have to offer. They are dealing with grave robbers. I guess that would explain the terrified villagers. The money's pretty modest, 50 crowns in advance, 210 when the job's done, but this is a pretty simple quest, so I'm going to go ahead and take it. I should be able to handle this one. And again, I'm not going to bother negotiating over the terms. I'll just accept the contract to maximize my reputation gain. Now, of course, before I go wandering off, I should wait until daytime so I can check out the local hires and supplies. Villages generally will not do business with you at night, so... I guess because of the raids and the terrified villagers, they're pretty light on both supplies and manpower, so... Can't really do any business there right now. I guess I should take care of their problem. There it is. The Forefathers Cemetery. Now this is definitely a good job to start with because securing the cemeteries, you're generally going to be facing relatively weak enemies. Grave robbers or, in this case, Nachzerer. I'm sure I mispronounced that. These guys are relatively easy, though the battle can quickly go out of control if you're not careful. But the Nachzerer. They were originally called Ghouls in the earlier versions of the game, but they were renamed to match a Germanic type of vampiric creature that cannibalizes corpses. See, these guys are lightly armored and very low on health, at least at first, so I'm just going to start peppering them with arrows. Assuming I can land any hits here. No. Okay, well, you're seeing the main problem that any fledgling mercenary band is going to suffer from, which is wild inaccuracy. And that is why I like to have a spear wall at the ready. The easiest way to handle these guys, at least initially, is with a spear wall, because they're so eager to eat you, they'll kind of suicidally just rush right into your spears, suffering crippling injuries as they do so. But you may see in a moment here why you still have to be careful. Let's see. I think I pierced that one guy's arm and tore off this guy's ear. Now let's see if I can soften them up with some more cover fire. No, no. Goodness. Feel like this is statistically improbable. I don't think I've landed a single ranged attack so far. Now, they're clearly setting up to circle around the north side of my spear wall, so I'm going to spread my guys out to better contain them and keep them running into my spears. There's a pierced shoulder, and he finally broke my spear wall. See, a foot injury and another pierced shoulder. There's another pierced shoulder. A grazed neck. That's heavy bleeding. Pierced hand. Pierced leg, I think. There's a foot injury. And, okay, there's one dead. Now I have to be careful because what these guys do... Oh, hey, I actually hit someone. What these guys do is once there's corpses on the field, they'll rush to try to eat them, which will heal all of their injuries and upgrade them to a more powerful form. If they get powerful enough, they'll become so big they can devour your mercenaries in one bite. That's what I want to avoid. I can't handle that with these rookie mercenaries. Fortunately, these guys appear to have all broken morale-wise. I can now just rush in and finish them off. In fact, yeah, there's the prompting. I've overwhelmed these guys so efficiently they are now only interested in fleeing the field of battle. So, sometimes I'm tempted to let them go, but in this case I'd rather get the easy XP. I guess I shouldn't really waste the arrow, but my archers could use some experience points after all those misses, so I'll just fire here. And hey, he actually hit. And look at that, 4 level ups. Alright, that was easy mission. I think that's about as smooth a starting mission as I've had in a long time. So let's head on back and collect our pay. And fortunately, it wasn't much for loot, but it made up for it with easy experience points. So let's see. Corey the Older is my frontline battle brother. He's got great potential in melee and some decent potential in defensive attributes. So, he's pretty straightforward. I like to focus on fatigue, but then I'm going to go ahead and increase his melee attack and his melee defense, since he'll be up on the front lines a lot. And like I said in the last video, Student is my preferred second level perk of choice. Now, Balin the Pessimist. Unfortunately, he does have some decent potential, so I'm going to go ahead and keep him as a frontliner. He doesn't have any potential in morale or melee defense, which I like to prioritize at this early point. So instead, I'm thinking I'm going to go ahead and increase his fatigue, of course. Fatigue being important both for lasting longer in battle and wearing heavier armor. And I'll go ahead and increase his range defense, I suppose. And he will also get the student perk. Now, Siegfried the Poacher, also a pessimist. He does not have good potential. I guess I'll increase his fatigue, and I'm just not really seeing anything else here that's worth increasing. He's kind of cowardly, so I'll bump his resolve up. I rarely take archers' resolves over 40, though. And yeah, I guess I'll go ahead and increase his range skill, even if it's just a little bit. Now, Guntram, on the other hand, is a starting battle brother, so he automatically gets good potentials. In this case, he's my ranged guy. So it makes his development a lot more predetermined. Obviously, I'm going to increase his ranged accuracy and his fatigue, so he can fire more often in combat. And now let's head back to Eichenberg and collect our pay. And this looks like... Yeah, this is the final of the tutorial narrative prompts. It's essentially telling me that I need to focus on boosting my reputation with the local villagers before the nobles will take me seriously. Once I've raised my reputation high enough, the nobles will start offering me more lucrative but more difficult contracts. Alright, job's done. I collect my 210 crowns. Eichenberg is no longer terrified. Yeah, you'll see that both of the negative modifiers have been removed from the village. Unfortunately, it doesn't look like it's really improved their selection much. It does give me an opportunity to unload these ghoul teeth, though. They're pretty useless, with a few rare exceptions. I guess I'll grab more food, too, for my gluttons. They're actually eating much faster than I had anticipated. Yeah, I think that's a good stopping point. I'd go a little longer, but I kind of want to try something new for the next video, so for now, let's go ahead and pause here. I know, this episode was a bit on the boring side. I ran away from one fight and dominated in another, but trust me, this is just the calm before the storm. Right now I'm just trying to get the Retcon Raiders into fighting shape, so I'm definitely playing on the defensive side. Now I wanted to wrap this up a bit early because one of my viewers made a suggestion on my last video, and I kinda wanted to follow up on that real quick. I can change the names on my mercenaries, and Roderick Reeves suggested that I should name them after some of my subscribers, and I think that's a great idea. So, if you don't mind watching me lead your on-screen counterpart to a horrible, bloody death, then let me know in the comments below. I've currently got 7 mercenaries on my roster. Ulfert, the gluttonous shield brother, Corey the Older, my equally gluttonous battle brother, Balin, the pessimistic lumberjack, Siegfried, my athletic but also pessimistic poacher, Guntram, my iron-jawed crossbow brother, Torhelm the patient, my sure-footed but asthmatic bowyer, and our newest member, Ludolf, the backup bowyer. If you'd like to name one of the mercenaries on the roster, just let me know in the comments below. If you'd like your name on a specific mercenary, then let me know that too, but keep in mind that I'm doing this on a first-come, first-served basis. Whoever asks first gets dibs. If you really don't care which mercenary you name, then I'll just add your suggested name to a list and use it on some of the other numerous mercenaries I'm sure I'll be hiring in the future. Oh, and no names that are obscene or objectionable, please. Let's try to keep things classy here. Now, I'm going to take a few days off before I do episode 3 of this Let's Play series, to give you some time to pitch your names or make your requests, but I should have the next episode up by the end of the week. Until then, this is Retcon Raider, signing off. Thanks for watching. Oh, and remember, although I do love playing Battle Brothers, you can find out more about the game by visiting the official websites. Links are in the description.